So guys, we have had the balance patch for Forest, and a couple of the cards, as you know, got buffed. So I wanted to play around a little bit with Evo Forest, and I've seen a lot of people been doing the same. There's been quite a lot of experimentation, so there's no one definitive deck, but this is really fun. It's a Lionel Evo version of the deck. Shout out to Toby who hit Beyond with it. Let's dive in and have a look at the cards. Okay, so as you can see, this is the deck. Now I have got a flex spot in here, which is the Bestest Pal, right? This one card here, you can run a second copy of Good Fairy of the Pond. You can even run things like a Charetta, which is a 2-cost, and basically gives you, when you've played the Dancing Duo and you play Charetta, basically it becomes a 4/7 with ward, which is obviously pretty good, especially if you're wanting to play around things like an Albert on turn 9. That's pretty cool. I've played with that a bit. Also, I think you can play just the standard what's the 2-drop cherub called? You know the card. Yeah, the Ruby. Ruby's pretty good in this deck because you can use Ruby to essentially like kick back Sandaphon, either once it's basically already kind of hit its mark, so that if you've got 3 of them, right, and all three of them come into your hand, that's potentially what, 2, 4, 6, that's potentially 6 healing, and then you can put 1 back, and then you could be potentially 8 healing. So that's one way of using it, but obviously sometimes with 3 copies you just get them too early in the game, so you can use Ruby to put them back as well. You can also use it to dig for your Super Evo turns. So let's talk about your Super Evo targets in this deck. There really are 2 main ones that you're looking for. One is the standard Dancing Duo. You probably all know by now, if you Super Evo this thing, then basically what it does is it puts a crest down. It says at the end, the first unit follower you play each turn basically gets to evolve for free. This is absolutely amazing. It's a real engine for the Evo deck, and obviously brings our Sandaphons online much quicker. So we're always looking for Dancing Duo. But the other one that we've added here is Lionel, the Ardent Elf. Now this card is actually to be honest, I remember when this first got printed and I was thinking, this card looks really powerful. Just the raw power looks really good. I still think it might even be possible to play in something like a kind of Roach build, but I've not seen it figured out yet. But I do think in this deck it works really well. So because it costs 6, comes down just on time. And basically what so you might play, for example, Glade on 5, Lionel on 6, something like that. And basically you can play this down and combo it with lots of things in the deck. So for example, when your 2 baby carbuncles come out, you Super Evo it, you then get 3 points back. So if you play this on 6, you're actually getting 9 points worth of play that turn, and that's an amazing tempo turn, right? The other thing you can do is play it on 7, and that'll obviously put you down to 1, then you carbuncle, that puts you back up to 4, and then we've got a lot of 4-drops in this deck, guys. So playing Lionel on turn 7 is often really good. You can sometimes play it into a Cupitan that's benefited now from its change, where it basically evolves after Skybound Art instead of Super Skybound Art. And I would say this particular combo is massive with that change, right? Because it's so much more by turn 7 that can be online. So Lionel into Cupitan, which obviously then does 7 damage to the board to clear the board, and you've got this massive board out. That's a huge tempo board, and it will definitely force out a Super Evo from your opponent. So Lionel's actually very good in this deck. I really like it. Gives us an alternative power play when we don't have Dancing Duo, and so we've kind of got 2 routes through now to the end game with both of these in. So let's quickly take a look at the rest of the deck. We've got the Fairy Fences in for the early game and 3 Ewiars. Ewiar's actually really good in this deck because we do want to refuel our Evos. We've got lots of Evo targets. And this deck's crazy. Like the amount of Evos you do with this deck is absolutely bonkers, which is why I kind of don't feel like you necessarily need Bestest Pal. But like I say, it's an experimental slot. English, BJ. We've got 3 Gilnelese. Gilnelese super powerful in this deck. Not only can it kind of buff your units down to get a bit of cheeky push damage in the end game, but obviously the Sweetness of Veracity just gives you even more threat. So we can have like double Sweetness of Veracity and triple Sandaphon in our hand by the end game, and that helps us to clear out like, grindy matches, which is really cool. But obviously it's also very good to recover, right? If we're playing against like Sword or Portal, things like that. Gilnelese is just great for that heal. And Gran and Jita, obviously, we really ideally want to be getting the free Evo off here. This is an Evo deck, so we don't really want to be playing it early if we can avoid it, but sometimes you just have to. So sometimes you just have to play it on 4 and draw 2 cards, but very flexible cards. Cynthia gives us a kind of proactive turn. We can play it on turn 4, even if we're going first. We don't necessarily need to Evo, and it can help deal with the board. Cruel is a 4-drop that gives us a little bit of heal, a little bit of that chip heal and some AoE. Cupitan's absolutely... I love this card. I think this card's really good. I think the change that they've made is really good. One thing I will say is just be mindful when you're playing now, because obviously the yellow thing's flashing once it hits super, when it's hits Skybound art, but it's not necessarily super Skybound art. So sometimes I kind of thought in my head, oh, I'm going to do 3 damage to face, and I'd not thought about the difference there. So you've got to be mindful of that. But it is very, very good. Obviously, comboing on turn 10 with Sandaphon, that's a great combo, right? Because Cupitan clears the board, and then Sandaphon does 10 damage to face. And if Cupitan was super Skybound art, that also does 3 damage to face. So that's a really nasty combo. Catalina is just going from strength to strength in this deck. I just think this card's brilliant. It's really fantastic as well when you get its Skybound art off, but you play it first when you've got the Dancing Duo thing off, because that means that this guy, Catalina comes down as a 7/7 that basically has Rush and deals 5 damage. I mean, that is an absolute power turn, right? For a bronze 5-drop, that's pretty impressive. We've already talked about the duo and Lionel. Glade just does Glade things, right? Like we do need to just kind of manage our hand size a little bit with the deck and just be conscious of that. But obviously this is great to play on 5 just to kind of clean up the board and bring us into the second stage of the game, the kind of mid game, if you like. And last but not least, we do have a single Congregant of Unkilling. Where we talked about that flex spot with the Vern Best's Pal, you could definitely play a second Congregant of Unkilling. We'd give you a little bit more consistency. And another thing that Toby kind of innovated on here is to bring a couple of Bales back. And I have to say, this is really clever. This is really good. And the reason why it's really good, I mean, bearing in mind we do run cards like Cynthia, right, which obviously pump out elves and sort of help kind of get Bale down kind of pretty cheap. One thing that Bale does, which is really cool, is once this costs 0, means we can actually play it with on the Sandaphon turn, so it can help us clear out the board. So you can imagine playing that plus Cupitan plus Sandaphon. That is just such a powerful finish. So I'll do like 2 copies of Bale. That's been a really good add to the deck. So that said, let's jump into a couple of games. Alrighty, so first up we've got Runecraft. We're just going to keep the Cynthia here. So he drops the Witch's Brew on 1. Pretty standard turn 1 play. We're just going to pass. No need to use the extra play point here. Penelope comes down. And we could, to be honest, we could use OER here, but I think I'm not too worried about taking the 2 damage to face here. Okay, so he's got 1 drop into double 2 drop. It's quite a good opening, a good start for him. This is where I often use the extra player point, is actually on turn 3. And the reason for that is because we just have a lot of 4 drops in the deck. So what you'll probably often find is, like this hand here, where you've got multiple 4 drops. So it kind of works out pretty well. Now we can Cynthia, we can actually Evo. Trade the Cynthia body herself, and 3 units to none. So unfortunately he does have the flare, so he's able to get rid of the big unit, but a few units still down on the board. We're actually going to Catalina here and evolve. And I was kind of figuring here that it does make it pretty difficult for him to Norman, right? Like, it's his turn 6 here. What does he do with Norman? So the best he can really do is just build a wall, right? Which is exactly what he does. But like the trade's really bad, so he doesn't even bother trading, you see. So it's a really quite a heads up play, I think, to play the Catalina. So down comes the Ardent Elf, Lionel, and we're going to Carbuncle, take out the 3/3, and we use that to clear space on the board and get rid of the barrier. And then that clears space for the fairy to finish that off, and then Catalina can clear the Norman. So yeah, really cool Lionel play there. Getting to see it in action, like it's a real power player. at that stage of the game. Like, I don't know, it almost feels sometimes like a turn 8 Super Evo. It's like it's like almost that power level, but you're playing it on 6, so it's pretty good. So we're going to go with draw here. Obviously, Granangita. This is why we're saying you really want to be using it later in the game when it can auto evo like that, because you can kind of draw and have removal, which is you know, and trigger, and obviously a trigger for Sandaphon. We're at 4 at the minute. So Ewia is going to put our thing back in our play, and that means we can now drop the Glade and Evo if we want. But actually, we choose not to Evo and just trade instead. Okay, down comes Rayo. So now, he's only got 3 cards in hand at the minute. Obviously 4 when he draws, but he is going to be getting cheaper cards. I don't want this game to go on all day. So we're going to use a Cupitan and then Cruel here. Just get a bit of clear and obviously get a bit of chip heal. Catalina. This is just, she's just awesome at the stage, like when she's got a Skybound Art off. So he's going to use Gilnalise and then Anangrea. So we actually use the Gilnalise to bag the Sweetness of Veracity. And we're just using them to double bag here. I don't see that we're going to need to Super Evo it for health, right? So we just basically get the Sweetness of Veracities bagged. Kind of force him to clear the board, right? You can't leave those on. Plays his Sweetness, okay. Maybe I spoke too soon, we're down to 13. I think we're okay. And now we're just going to double Sweetness here, not give him a board. And we've got the Bale into Sandaphon finish lined up. But he does find Norman and he has a Super Evo point left. So what a top deck for him. And he's able to all of a sudden turn this around, right? It looks like he was down and out, but that was a hell of a top deck with that final Super Evo point. And he's all the way back up to 17 and we're down to 12. So yeah, we got some work to do here. So we actually play the first Sandaphon for clear, which is not something that we often want to be doing, but you can use it this way, especially when you've got 3 lined up, which is what can happen with this particular version of the deck. So we use it to get back in the game. I mean, that was like a big power turn for him, his last Super Evo into Norman. So obviously we just want bodies down because he's got his Sandaphon, so we need to defend our face from that. Oh, and he's going to get a Veracity out, so that's going to be in hand for 5 damage. We're down to 6. And we don't have any heal. But this is really good because we can Super Evo. And we save that extra player point. And this is another thing, like being able to play a 5 and 6, Sandaphon being a 6, so being able to play 11 player points is actually pretty good in the end game. So it's something to bear in mind, like don't just throw away your extra player point in the end game if you don't need to. GG. All right, so we have got a Forest Mirror, and you never quite know like what it's going to be at the minute with Forest, right? I tend to assume it's Rose Queen, because if it ends up being Evo, it's a lot easier to adapt in that matchup because obviously you've got somewhat of a mirror. He's actually playing the Charetta, so this makes me think that it Mind you, even in Rose King, Toretta's could be pretty good. No, it's not, right? Because it only transforms forest cards. So this makes me think it's an Evo deck, right? I think Toretta's pretty good in the Evo deck. And the reason is with the Dancing Duo, that thing can become like a 4/7 with Ward in the late game for only 2, which is insane. Now he's putting a lot of pressure on us early here. We're already down to 14. So we're going to Glade to deal with this board. He's going to Evo Cupitan. Nothing wrong with like using a Cupitan like this, by the way. Like if you draw 1 in the early game, you've still got 2 more for the late game shenanigans. It's almost like another Glade, really. Cheaper as well. Obviously, it hasn't got the draw, but... So it was a bit of an awkward turn that, like, we only spent 4 of our 6 player points, and if you looked at the hand, it was a bit strange. I didn't want to play Ewia there because I want to use it to regain Evo points. I think in this matchup, that's kind of important, actually. You can see that we're both already spent on our Evos. So here's our first Super Evo player. We have got Lionel. So we Super Evo Baby Car Bunkle. And into Cupitan, who auto-evolves. So this is what I was saying in the prologue about actually using Lionel on 7 rather than 6. Because if you do that, you can then play it with a 4-drop. And we have a shed load of 4-drops. And the Cupitan play is just phenomenal. Similarly, Cruel's can be very good, depending on the board state, right? So this pulls out his final Super Evo. And we've obviously got Ewia, so we can get an Evo back, and we can Super Evo as well. I'm actually going to play the Evo on Cynthia. And just again, really threaten with a board. Only thing is, we are kind of walking into a Cruel here. And there it is, yeah. So Cupitan is going to auto-evolve and clear this board. So his Sandaphon now in play, in hand, sorry. And now we are on to turn 10. So have we got... So first Sandaphon is live. So we're going to play that now. And in these, like, Sandaphon wars, like, one of the good things about going first is that you've obviously got a 7/6 body down, right? And he doesn't really want to be playing his Sandaphon when you've got that kind of body on the board. So you can see he tries to kind of chip away best he can first before he plays his. Now, our second Lionel Super Evo target comes down. So, like I said, different route to victory, right? Like, if you don't have the Dancing Duo, this is what Lionel does for you. And pretty nice with the Catalina as well, right? Like, playing this out on 8 just puts her board down. That board is ridiculous at this part of the game. All right, so up against Dragon. Just going to keep the fencer. I have to say, I'm really loving this deck. I think it's a lot of fun. I'm not sure it feels like quite as powerful as the Sword Evo, but it's definitely improved. Definitely improved. We're just going to draw here and push. We could actually Cruel and Good Fairy here, because like Glade's just going to mill stuff, isn't it? Evo Glade to clear this. It is looking a bit precarious if he's got another storm unit here. Probably got the 8 drop, hasn't he? Evo target. We could have done like a Lionel into Cruel and heal and have a blocker up. That is one line of play for sure. Catalina's online now. Gayu. So we could actually Lionel into Catalina, right? This is kind of insane. Oh no, it couldn't have hit anything worse. That's really unfortunate. Maybe we should have cleared this first. I don't know. That was really unlucky. Problem is, I've got all this Gilnelise and no way of playing them now. I need to find... here we are. Thing is, Sandaphon is online next turn. Okay. Really? We've got to do this to get the heal, right? Hold. Mm-hmm. Maybe we should have Gilnelise into this and made it bigger. Because we lose to Genesis Dragon now. No, we don't, right? Because we've got the heal crest. Huh. Okay. This is getting edgy. Ah. That's what you got. Aha. Then we're going to play this. So we're going to do this, right? We're going to hit that first. I just want to get maximum heal here. That's all I care about. Like, do that. And then just do this. We should be good now, guys. Oh. Okay. Well, we're just gonna heal again and like trade and whatever. Like, it doesn't even matter, right? Like, we'll just play this just to keep healing. I don't know. It doesn't matter. He could have one more. And there we go. Oh. And the thing is, he actually has got the, what's it called as well? Oh, no. There's nothing we can do. Well, we've just got to... He's got the Gilnelise thing, has he? No, because he played that before. He definitely played one before turn 10. He's played two. So he's probably got one Sweetness of Veracity. So then he'd just need one damage. Which could just be any Storm unit. Yeah, we've lost. Ah, man. Just any Storm unit, isn't it? Like... Saying that, it costs 5, doesn't it, Sweetness? Just Genesis Dragon, though, for the win, innit? Galmeo, yeah. Gilnalise into it to buff it. No. Okay. Okay. GG. Oh boy. A crazy old game. Woo! What a crazy game. GG, my friend. GG. All right, so we're up against Forest. I think we have to assume it's Rose and just play as fast as we can for Sandaphon, right? Okay. It's looking like next turn coin, right? It is now, boys. So we've seen an Evo card there. So we might have a tiny bit more time, but it can still run Rose Queen, so need to stay healthy. We'll just trade the fairy in. Oh. Don't mind that. It's kind of awkward. I think we're actually just going to play Bale here. Yeah. Huh. Problem is we don't really want to get the benefit from this yet. These are too early. We're actually just going to play Glade. Now we've got some better targets for it. Much better targets for Lionel now. Super Evo Carbuncle. These guys drop now to 1. Best use of, since we've only got 1 more board space, I think we'll play Here We Are there. Save the 1-cost Fairy Fencer to play with things like Dancing Duo, I think. Okay, Cupitan. I think we're just going to drop Congruent here. So now our Dancing Duo are going to have like something to actually respond to, which is, well, I think it is anyway. Should have, yeah. Some leftover bits. Okay, let's go. Super Evo, make our Fairy Fencer cheaper. Actually, what's this? Both Area and Fairies have Rush, so Fairy Fence is actually a pretty good target for the Dancing Duo crest if we need like a cheap target. Okay. Sandaphon is online next turn. Which is great. Four. Is it better to just Cruel here? Okay. Second Sandy online, and we got third one coming out. It's like his Sandaphon, right? No. Heal. Okay. So let's kill that. Ah, I think we should have evoed that actually, right? We should have evoed this because this is on 12, so that would have been 13 and 14, and then the first one, the auto evo, would have been 15. So we could have set Sandaphon up a bit better there. I think it's actually, you know what? It's kind of a similar thing anyway. Yeah. Definitely going to evo this. He's got one evo left. I think he's cooked, chat. I think he's cooked. Okay. He's got the Odin. Okay. And then the evo here for some heal. Is that right? Yeah. Okay. He's cooked, chat. He is cooked. Brown baked and ready to go. Oh, maybe not. Maybe not, chat. Maybe not. Why did I think that was over? What am I missing? Okay, now he's cooked, chat. Now he's cooked. They're always close games, the mirror matches, obviously, Evo on Evo. Portal. So let's make use of the draw. Wasn't like the cleanest turn for us, that, in terms of removal. The problem is that it's actually a willness, anti-willness move as well, so we need to get these things going. Kind of empty my hand a bit. So where are all my super Evo targets? What is this deck? What are we playing, chat? Whatever it is, we're losing to it. Let's Super Evo Gilnalise. Ah, kill this first, right? Even up the life totals a little bit. Scary dude. Oh, we finally got a Super Evo target. Okay. I think we will simply play this. Has he played... He didn't play any filings, has he? I kind of feel like we need to do this. Okay, so now... Wait, what? Yeah, we've got 6. So Sandy's coming in next turn. For a bit of heal. Jerry Bane. Is he pivoting? Or is he just using it for the hard removal? Hard removal. Okay. Did I filing? So is he gonna... Okay, so final Super Eva is to heal. That's okay, because you actually faked the Sandaphon this turn anyway. Okay, here we are into Glade, like one of the best here we are combos, really. Keep the Glade up. Okay, so Sandy is online with Cupitan. What are we playing, guys? There's no Fenny. He's probably sitting with like Genesis Dragons in hand, but we've done a good job at healing. Okay. Max Love Bomb. So we put him on 1, is that right? Are we going to lose, guys? Are we going to lose? Yep. Zoe nonsense. All the way. I would like to find... Oh, that's not bad. Yeah, that's not bad. It's basically that or the 2-drop, right? Charetta. Cherry. How many Zoes have you got? How many have you played? You've played 2 Zoes. Have you got your 3rd one? Odin doesn't do it. Genesis doesn't do it. I think we're safe, chat. I think we might be safe. Oh, who the hell knows? I wasn't even looking at his cards. He ran out of cards. GG. Some weird deck. So that is the deck, guys. I hope you like that one. I'm really enjoying this deck. I think it is phenomenal. What I'm trying to do is get every single class to epic. And then I'll kind of do a video on my epic videos, and I'll get everyone to ultimate, and kind of I'm trying to get every deck up a level at a time, basically. So far I've got about half of them to epic. And this one is well on its way. It's really good. It's a really fun deck. I hope you enjoy it. Let me know if there's any things you've tested. The next thing I want to try is actually swapping the Bestest Pal for a second Congregant. I did find that with only a single Congregant, it was quite inconsistent when that was coming down. But, you know, at the same time, when you're playing cards like Bale, you do want some cheap units. Like Good Fairy's good because that's 2 bodies that obviously can be played and die, right, with making Bale cheaper. So you've got to be careful because you're trying to balance many things. But overall, I think this deck is fairly competitive, to be honest, right now. I do think that the changes to Cupitan and Ewia are making a difference. Whether it pushes them into the top tier, probably not tier 1, but I'd be interested to see whether this deck's potential can end up reaching tier 2 at least. So thanks very much for watching, guys. Like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.